Hey everyone, a little different today. What I wanted to do was just tell you a little bit about something new that Steph and I wanted to start. Maybe a little branch off from our normal podcast that comes out on Wednesdays. So we were thinking of once a month doing a special episode on Tuesdays called Testimony Tuesday. We recently had a Facebook post out there that we got some testimonies on, and we just were inspired. And we think other people would be inspired by just hearing testimonies, hearing how God has really been in work with people's lives. And as most of us know, testimonies are always being written and it's a continual process. I thought today I could just share a little bit of a testimony that has happened with me recently. It's not my whole testimony of my life. I am not quite sure I want to share that yet, but just a little snippet of a testimony that's happened to me recently. If you've listened to our podcast episodes in the past, we had mental health. And one of the mental health things that I've dealt with is anxiety, like a crippling anxiety that has stopped me from functioning. I was afraid to actually go out and do things. And it was about once in a while these episodes would happen. But then it got so bad to where I was passing out. I was going to the ER thinking I was having a heart attack. And then they finally put me on medication. And I mentioned in the podcast how the medication helped me stabilize my mental health so that I could focus and actually get it under control. And my doctor did not want me to stay on the medication as a permanent situation and wanted me to have the ability to stabilize the emotions on my own and to be able to establish techniques to help me through times that I had panic attacks or anxiety moments. That was something that I was working on. I was turning to the Bible to remap my mental health to understand what the word actually says, what God is saying to me, and how I can rely on Him to get through those situations. And I know if you're not a believer, you're going to think, oh, that's something that cannot be done. I'm here as my testimony to say that is something that can be done, to remap your mind. It does take some time. You will use some counseling and some therapy. You will have moments where you think it's not going to work. And most recently, I mentioned this on the podcast as well, my doctor thought it was time for me to wean off the medication. I was very nervous. I've been on the medication for about 2 years now, and haven't had an episode where I thought I was going to die. Even my anxiety with just social anxiety, being able to go out to people. My thing isn't large crowds where I'm expected to speak. My issue is intimate settings where I have to just be a functioning adult who needs to come up with speaking topics. Small talk is not my friend. I cannot do small talk. So I'm either somebody who doesn't talk or I go into the most random, too intimate, weird situations. So I just do not know how to function in an adult setting where I have to communicate. But I noticed through the medication, I was able to do that. I didn't have anxious moments going into these types of situations where I was going to be, even with family, where it was going to be lots of family members. I would clam up and I would want to be off by myself. And then that would be irrational fear, or I would have fits of anger. And I noticed that these situations weren't happening as much. So for 2 years, I was living my life like I wanted to be. I was happy about it. And then the doctor wanted to wean me off just because when you are on that medication, sometimes you do have to mix the medication or you have to up the medication. And he just really did not want me to be on this medication. He wanted me to find a way to stabilize my own emotions. And I was thankful that he pushed me towards the situation, in that it forced me to actually look at my relationship with God and actually cast my cares and my worries and my anxiety on Him. Now, the process of weaning off the medication was you take half the medication for 2 weeks and then you do every other day. And it was a total of 4 weeks. And I just recently got off of it. And as soon as I got off of it, I had one of the moments that typically would have created an anxious moment where I went to the ER. And it was exactly the same situation I was in before. I woke up with pain in my chest, and then that led to my mind racing and my arms feeling numb. So then that before took me into I'm having a heart attack. I hyperventilated. I drove myself to the ER because I did not want Steph to have to worry or take care of me in that situation. But at this point recently, I woke up severe pain in my chest and it went down through my arm. And I was like, oh no, it's happening. I knew this was going to happen. I knew the medication was helping me function as a normal person. And when I got over that initial wake up, if you wake up unexpectedly from a deep sleep, you're a little groggy and your head doesn't really function well. When I got through that, I realized, oh wait, I have the tools in front of me that God has prepared me. There's one thing that my mom actually bought me when we were on a trip. It's called prayer cross, I think, but it's something that is a cross and it was formed into the shape where you get to hold it. And I grabbed that, and it was like I was able to physically feel a cross to cast my cares on. And then I went to my Bible app and I have my scriptures already downloaded for the anxiety. And I read through them, and then I prayed and I put on my worship music and I just listened to God ease my mind. So I was able to ground myself to realize, okay, what's actually going on? Was it the fact that I ate sriracha chicken before I went to bed? And dang, that's exactly what it was. It was just extreme heartburn. And that's exactly what happened last time. It's just crazy that the enemy will take this super silly non medical issue because heartburn is not going to kill you. It feels like it's going to kill you. Let me tell you, that sriracha chicken was hot. When she opened the lid of that chicken to cook it, my eyes were watering and everybody started coughing in the room because it was super hot. But it shouldn't kill you. And so when I ate it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is hot, but I don't think it's that hot. But now I am 36 years old. And when I was able to eat this stuff when in my 20s, I didn't wake up with heartburn and thinking I was going to die of a heart attack. But now at 36, I wake up with heartburn and I'm like, I'm going to die. So that's just how the stage of life I'm in right now. But I was able to ground myself and to actually have the facts in front of me and the clarity that God wanted me to have in this typical chaotic situation that I was in previously that took me into these worries and this fits of anxiety that would send me to the hospital with irrational fear and tests and medical bills and all of these things. And when this happened back 2 years ago, it was again, I had to face death because my father-in-law passed away. My dad was going through health issues, heart-related health issues. So it was all stacked up. And then I wake up because, I don't know, I ate some like spicy pizza or something. And my mind automatically went to, I'm dying. So that's where I was at in that situation. For those 2 years, I took that medication, not to be reliant on the medication, but to get that clarity so then I can see the clear picture that God wanted me to have. So then now, when I go into these situations, I wake up and I know exactly where I need to turn to. Not WebMD. Let me tell you, WebMD killed me that day. I either had a heart attack, a stroke, or I had cancer in my lungs. And that's what WebMD was telling me. But God was telling me, you're fine. You just ate some spicy chicken. And then this past week, I took the kids camping, and we camped in a tent. We camped at the same campground I was with Amelia 2 years ago. And if you listen to the podcast about anxiety, you would have heard the story of where I was afraid that Amelia was going to be alone because I died of a heart attack, and then she wouldn't be able to read my note that I left for her, and then she wouldn't know what to do. All that situation, I was at that same campground, and Steph wasn't with me, and it was my 3 children and I in a tent, sleeping, tent camping. It's extremely hot. I'm tired. So those 2 factors are not good for my mindset. But then also, I'm sleeping on an air mattress. Again, age 36, not in the best shape. That is a recipe for disaster, because then I woke up with extreme back pain in my upper back, and it pulsated to my chest. For a quick second, I was like, oh no, are my kids going to be okay? And again, I just worshiped to myself. I sang, because that week we were doing the praise segment of our podcast, and we were talking about praise at church. And I was like, I'm going to praise through this situation. I sang praise, and I slowly felt just like peace coming over me. And again, I was able to have the clarity that God wanted me to have. Where the enemy wanted me to have chaos, I had that clarity to think rationally. Okay, Dwayne, what's up? What do you think this is? Is it a heart attack? Is it that there's a tumor in your lung that nobody's ever found before? No, it's the fact that you're 36 and you're sleeping on a half deflated air mattress with a 4-year-old kicking you in the back all night and punching you in the face because we had to share that air mattress. It's hot outside and you're getting not enough sleep, so you're not thinking clearly. That's exactly what it was. So I just wanted to say in this testimony that if you are going through anxiety, and you might have different severity of anxiety, you might have different severity of mental health issues. And I'm not saying that what happened to me is what you should be doing, but I will say that you should be focusing your relationship on God. You should see what God has for you and what he wants to say to you. Because in those moments where the enemy wants chaos in your mind, in those moments where he's telling you that you are worthless or that you have nothing to offer to the world, where you are going to die, where you have irrational fear, the enemy is there. He is feeding those lies into your head. So I urge you to get with somebody at your church or somebody who is skilled in counseling, somebody who is a professional in the mental health industry, but also has the Christian view that you want to seek, to help remap your brain into what is it God saying to me in these moments where the enemy's saying that I am worthless. God says that I am wonderfully made. Where the enemy is telling me to fear, God is telling me not to fear, that he has me in the palm of his hands, that he cares about me even more than the sparrows who don't have to worry. God cares about me more than anything in all of creation. He sacrificed his son to die for me. And then to have that irrational fear of death. I understand that death is very scary because it's an unknown, but as believers, we should know that it's not the end for us. That when I said I was going to be a follower of Christ, that I was going to be God's, and that I was going to accept the offer that he had for me to die to myself and to live for him and to live through him, I knew that my eternity started then, and that death was not going to separate me from that eternity that I'm promised. So even in the physical realm where I'm dead, I will have life with the Creator. and I will have that ultimate peace that I'm looking for. But until then, I will fight through this, and that I will know that God has a plan for me in all of the situations that I have. So I encourage you to just keep pushing, to keep fighting, and to keep reading your word and to keep seeing what God has for you, because He has more. He has greatness for you. There is so much more that you have to offer to this world. And I just encourage you to look for that. So this is just a little snippet of what to look for on Testimony Tuesday. Again, it will be only once a month. We want to do, I'm not going to say how long the episodes are going to be, because we kind of messed that up when we said we're going to do max 30 minutes for our normal Wednesday check-ins. But those have been coming up to 50 minutes, 45 minutes. So I thank you all who have been watching to the end, who have come out every week to listen to us, no matter where you're at, to support us and to actually get on the Facebook and engage with us. We're really excited for where it's coming, and I just thank you all. So I'm not going to put a time limit on it, but I'm excited to see and hear other people's testimonies and to sit down and talk with them and to see how God is working in everybody's lives. I'm excited. I hope this was something that was encouraging. I hope it's something that if it wasn't something that was impactful, if you know somebody else who would be impacted by it, just share it, subscribe, and look for the Testimony Tuesdays. We're going to shoot for one next month in August. So look for that. We'll let you know when it's going to happen. So everybody have a great day.